I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire. Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine? Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire starts now.
And we are recording. What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite truck driver in the whole wide world, ex-truck driver in the whole wide world, Bitcoin Ben, here with a damn good friend of mine and probably one of the most Americans I've ever met in my life. What's up, David Branscum?
How are you? I'm sorry I'm getting settled here. I'm doing this at dinner time, and a lot of people follow me and know that it's all about the meat, so I'm going to cook some fajitas while I'm chatting with you.
No. Like I said, that is the most American thing. Hey, while I'm doing your call, I'm actually I think I'm going to cook up some meat out on the barbecue.
You should. Let's cook together, Ben. Let's get it done.
Yeah, because if right there, brother, right there.
I don't want to be, I see that. That's right. I don't want to be, called out too bad after this comes out. I don't know if I pronounced it right. It may be pronounced fajita. I don't know if that's correct or not. I'm in Texas. I don't know. So,
hey, as long as it has 100% real, actual beef, I'm good. Yeah. I don't want nothing grown out of a lab.
Nope.
It's ridiculous where we are getting. Let's actually jump in right on that because you live in Texas. You are a hardcore carnivore like myself.
Yep.
And what do you think, or do you think there's an agenda on growing, I don't know, meat? I don't even want to call it meat.
No, you can't call it meat, man. It's not. It's like calling almond milk. You can't. Almonds don't have teats. You can't milk them. So I think you can't really call it that, right? I did see something on the other day. It's like their stock, the Beyond Meat stock, was so far down or something like that. And it's just a matter of time. Like, here's the thing. As a carnivore, I don't need to figure out how to make mashed potatoes out of beef. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to make vegetables and fiber out of beef because I'm basically getting enough stuff, right? So I'm like just thinking it's just it's one of two things, neither of which are okay. It's either a game where they're just playing games and trying to see, how much ridiculous stuff they can do with science, or there's more subversive, nefarious, kind of goals in mind. And I think they come in under the first one, but they end up always rotating and leaving at the second in the latter. So they are rightfully so gonna disappear. They're gonna go away because nobody needs that. It's just unnecessary. And it's really great. Like congratulations on the new location. I know you got some other ones coming up, by the way, but I was at the Plano location. for that little event. Slim was there. Jay was there. Met Jay for the first time there, and it was just a nice. The timing was right. I could come up there. I used it as an excuse to go to a Dallas Cowboys preseason game with my son. So we had a good weekend. Had a good weekend up there. But once you really start, I'm a huge fan of what the Beef Initiative's doing, what you guys are doing. It's you really start looking at it from a truth focused lens, right? Which is kind of what Bitcoin does for a lot of people with health and food and everything else. Beef is actually better for the planet. It's more nutrient dense. You can feed you can get 500, 520, 540 meals out of one cow.
Yep.
And the amount of meals you would have to the amount of water and food and resources you would have to do that with vegetables, right, is a little ridiculous. And the amount of land you would need and space you would need, and not to mention the fact that there's a lot of nutrients that if you did that, you wouldn't get without. You still need the protein, you still need the beef, right? So it's like it doesn't make any sense. And they say, well, we're doing it for the animals. Do you have any idea how much animal habitat is destroyed for farming, right? Like natural animal habitat, it's just as bad in a lot of cases as like building a new residential community, right? It's a similar kind of situation. It just takes the natural flora and fauna and drives it out, right? Whereas as beef, they can kind of go almost anywhere. I mean, there's some stuff that's dangerous for them that you have to clean up, but for the most part, they can kind of go anywhere. So it just doesn't, it's a psyop. It's games. It's more about the control and the gates. So it's going to go away. I think it'll go away eventually. The world is kind of starting to get tired of, the World Economic Forum, eat bugs and all that other crap. So I feel like, eventually no one's going to listen to them anymore. I got to tell you, man, I've never, ever seen anyone at any grocery store I've ever been at ever buy like an Impossible burger or Impossible meat. I've never even seen it. So I don't even know if it's actually happening.
Yeah.
It's like
maybe a psyop.
Yeah, it's like, okay, put all this stuff in there and then every day go in and pull a few pieces out and throw them away to make it look like people are. It's like when Red Bull started marketing, they would go to places that had like concerts and stuff, and they would just take empty cans and throw it on the ground because they were like, people would see it and like, oh, a bunch of people drink some Red Bull. I guess I need a Red Bull, Yeah. So I mean, who knows, man? It's all games. It's all games, and somebody out there is funding it to try to increase their reach or their power or whatever else. I don't know. It's ridiculous. I just ignore it now. So
yeah, I think and let me know how you feel about this. I think we've reached a point where we've realized so much was absolutely corrupt and evil.
Yeah.
That we look at everything and we go, no. We want genuine. We want real. We don't want fucking Kool-Aid. We don't want cereal that's basically made out of pure sugar.
Yeah.
We want real food and we want real money.
Yeah, we do. I think it's authenticity. And it's also Breedlove does a good job on his podcast talking about it, right? It's like just it's really just seeing things for how they are and being honest with not just like what's around you, but yourself too, right? Like saying, okay, well, like it's the difference between victim culture and responsibility, right? It's like saying, okay, well, listen, I had this opportunity. I screwed it up. It's my fault. What do I need to do to fix it and change it? Right. Which a lot of people can't do. Right. I mean, that's a big part of addiction and stuff. And then you you want to keep it going because it's easier than fixing it. So you just start to believe the lies, right? Well, we believe that with everything. We believe it with the government. We believe that, these people ultimately are going to make the best decisions for us. They're not. They're going to make the best decisions for themselves. And so you start to, and it's really frustrating too. You almost wish you could get plugged back into the matrix sometimes, because like you see it and then you see it you're like, oh my God, it's absolutely fucking everywhere. There's nothing I can do. And you get a little discouraged, but then you realize, okay, but that's how I feel when I'm looking at only the bad. Once you start to focus on the good, you realize it's still out there. And that's why I get excited. I met Slim at Texas Slim a couple years ago at an event in Houston, and I was already on carnivore, but I was like, wait a minute. I was like, oh, this is like, if I'm depending on this, and then you're telling me, so it's like, even I had just found out what was healthier for me, but then I found out that there were other people playing more fiat games with it, right? It's just, but I was like, but there wasn't despair, because I was like, here's a guy that's not only pointing out the problem, but he's also giving me a solution to it. And he's out there working and he's being honest about it. It's like those kinds of things, as long as you can focus on those types of things in that direction, you have hope, right? Which I think is, we didn't have, honestly, we don't have, with a fiat system, it's just, and it's not even always evil or someone saying, I'm going to be corrupt, right? They just are incentivized by this terrible system to make bad decisions for other people because that's the best decision for them. It's a terrible, terrible fucking system. So
let me ask you a question. Do you think that the system was created with an agenda, or do you think it evolved and then just went bad?
Oh no, it was absolutely created with an agenda, but it started out. It depends on where you want to start the story, right? So
let's say 1913-ish.
Did you say 1776 or what? Yeah, I see. The thing is, it's like it started when we were, if you want to say just as far as our country goes, right? Let's say we're just looking at the dollar, which is fine. I would say, okay, the creation of a new country. And when you do that, you leave and let go of everything you have and you go to a new country and you're starting it there, and you have to depend on yourself, right? You have to depend on whatever's there and your ability to actually provide, right? So there's no, oh, help us over. You get a little bit of help from other countries and stuff, right? But once you decide, once they decided, well, no, we're the King of England is not our king anymore. Most of their help went out the window, right? It was like, okay, now it's all on us to do whatever we need to do to survive. So they did that, but up to that point, it was still kind of, you could use gold and you could use some of those things, and then they started making money, but money was still kind of backed by gold. It was a certificate, all that kind of stuff. But then you absolutely have you already, even when it was backed by gold, you had some shenanigans, right? You had them like, oh, well, I can just create more notes. I can just write a note. There doesn't have to be any gold in here, right? And then they're like, and they figured out how the debt system works and stuff like that. And that was done at a small scale level. But then the Federal Reserve came about, right? That was absolutely a nefarious, very, very evil focused, control focused agenda. And they did that because, and I hate to say this too, because I'm a bit of a libertarian, right? But I understand there needs to be a little bit of government for a few things. That's what I personally feel. I'm not a full anarcho-capitalist, but I'm close. But then you may need a little bit, but once I started looking at it very much and from an outside perspective now, and realizing that all governments that are based on a fiat system, or all governments maybe in general, period, are eventually going to move into a socialist kind of regime. It's just the way big systems and bureaucracies move, right? So like, what did I see? I saw a quote the other day that said, this guy, Financial Physics, he's the first one to point it out to me. And he said, so socialism and Marxism needs a federal bank and a reserve and a national currency. Democracy needs a federal reserve and a bank and a national currency. He's like, yeah, he's right? There's probably not really a big difference with me. And so I started looking at it and I was like, yeah, and then you see a quote, and then I was doing some research, reading some stuff, and saw a quote that's like, even with a democracy, people can, as long as you have the currency, even with a democracy, people can still be forced to do what you want them to do, right? They're still under control. It's just a little more subversive, right? And we've been watching it happen in the US, and then because of the way money works and because of the way technology works, it's accelerated, and we can see it so much easier with, X and the internet and all that kind of stuff. So it just feels like it's accelerating even faster and faster. And you're like, oh man, this is terrible. It's really, we've actually outlasted what a lot of other fiat currencies have done. They've actually accelerated faster, right? 80 to 100 years is about as long as a fiat currency has ever lasted, and we're at year like 120, 150, something like that. So we're naturally going to implode, and it's going to collapse on itself, and we're going to go full Weimar. We're going to go Zimbabwe. We're going to wake up, and the education's getting out there, and people are starting to realize that. They're like, this system is just not sustainable, right? It's a three-legged table, and all it takes is for one of those legs to fall out, and we're on the ground. So if it wasn't for something like Bitcoin coming in to change the motives, change the checks and balance system, really, once you realize how scarce Bitcoin is and the value of it, right? You're like, what is it? My son liked what Trump said. Bitcoin 24 is like, you never sell your Bitcoin, right? Which is what Saylor says. I don't want to sell my Bitcoin, but I do want to be able to transact it, right? Like the thing about it is, unlike the dollar system today, I get to choose what the value is. So if I decide, it's worth it to me to buy this house and sell my Bitcoin to do it, or give my Bitcoin to someone else for that house, then I should be able to do that. And with Bitcoin, I can do that without anybody telling me I can't, right? Without controlling how the money gets routed and all that stuff. I had my car stolen in Dallas a couple weeks ago at a Bitcoin at the North American Blockchain Summit, the TBC puts on. And I've been shopping online, and it's like thinking it might be fun just to kind of get an older, like classic truck, that's kind of been cleaned up. I don't drive a whole lot anyway, so I could get away with kind of an older vehicle like that. And I was looking online, and I called the guy, and I saw a truck that was pretty cool. I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, but like I really like it. So I called the guy, I got some information. He's like, yeah, it's a resto mod. It's been, redone. It's got a newer engine, all this. I was like, okay, good. Still a pretty good deal. And I said, okay, will you guys, how do I take care of the payment? And he's like, oh, well, so we usually just get a check. And I said, well, how long does that take? He's like, well, 3 to 5 days to change. I said, okay, can I wire money? He's like, yeah, you can wire money. He said, if we happen to be with, if we happen to be in the same bank, it can happen pretty quick. Otherwise, it's going to take a little while, whatever. And then, all this. And I said, any chance you guys or the owner would take Bitcoin? Because if that's the case, I can have your money in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I can send it to you.
I was like, I could send it to you in like 10 minutes, right? And nobody has to know. Nobody cares. It's just, you have a title. You hand me the title. I give you the Bitcoin, and end of transaction, right? And he's like, oh no, we don't do that. It's only a matter of time before everybody realizes how easy that is, and how private it is, and how
real
how
it is.
free it is. Yeah, and how real it is, right? So it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, I've always looked at this as the next evolution of exchange of value. You know, we had uh, gold, we had silver, we had currency like US dollars, we had personal checks we'd write.
Yep.
And then we had swipe your credit card. And in the old days, when you and I were younger, they'd cha-ching them, you know. And then we had uh, PayPal and all that shit. But we've reached a point technologically where we can actually have a currency that is completely digital, that as soon as you send it, it's there, and your receipt of it is receiving it.
Right.
It's absolutely revolutionary, because if you swipe your card, they're not receiving that cash right then.
No.
You know, it's
No.
hey, we'll put it in your checking account in probably about 2 or 3 weeks, and we're going to charge you 2 or 3% just to do it.
I made a payment. I can't remember. Oh, it was for some piece of like the Bitcoin artist group. The artist Asanoa Gold is doing it, I think, and I said, yeah. I said, yeah, let me get one of those limited edition things. He said, I'll send you an invoice. So he sent me an invoice. I paid it in Lightning. It was instantaneous, and like the fee was so low in Sats. It said the fee was $0.00.
Yeah.
Right. It was like maybe a couple pennies. It was less than a penny's worth of Sats for like a $500 or $600 payment or whatever, you know? So you're like, why are people still okay with this? And I've got a few people that are getting it, business owners and friends and things. My eye doctor is great. He's like, I can't live on the fiat standard anymore. He's like, I know you're in Bitcoin. Can you tell me what this is all about? Right. And I think the next step for him is going to be, looking at a solution where he takes payments and immediately transfers the profits or into Bitcoin. And then, or he gets to a point where he can, if he runs through Square, Jack Dorsey just made a lot of that, you could pay with Bitcoin on Square now, right? So it's like, it's all coming. Yep. And you're going to be able to wake up, and you're going to wake up one day and it's like, it's going to be everywhere. You're going to be able to pay for your gas with it. You're going to be able to pay, the convenience store. You're going to be able to pay at the grocery store. I think there will still be credit and credit cards and things like that, but there's even a few great options for that are paying you rewards in Bitcoin, right? So it's like, yeah. So it's like, it's kind of, Bitcoin's eventually going to swallow all of this crap up and clean it up. And when it does, it'll also realign the incentives and the way we do and the way all these products work, because there's no more fiat games on top of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And how I look at this is so crazy. This is going to improve everything, because if you have a real currency that appreciates as you go along, just imagine how good of a product are they going to have to offer you to exchange, to actually get it out of your wallet. It was like, oh, here's a hunk of shit. Yeah. Oh, here's actually hamburger, but it's made out of lettuce.
Yeah.
You aren't going to, no, I value my Bitcoin more than I value that.
Yeah.
But You actually go to a high-end restaurant and they actually bring you out a beautiful tomahawk,
Yeah.
and it's perfectly cooked. Hey, I'll send you some Bitcoin for that.
Sure. Yeah. I know it's I love the I've seen this stuff online where it's like these people are like, they plug in a refrigerator from 1957 on their porch and they plug in a brand new refrigerator that's supposed to be, much more efficient, and it literally does the same job and draws the same amount of power. There's
Yep.
no difference, right? So you're like, but they charge you so much. It's just an excuse, right, to make more money and to get you to spend more money. If you are using a currency that's truly deflationary, I'll sell you one. I'll become the best refrigerator maker in the world. I'll make the best refrigerators in the world. I'll make it out of the right quality stuff. I'll make it to last forever, like couple hundred years, right? Whatever it is. And I'll sell it to you for whatever the value is. And then I'll put that away and I'll take my profit and put it away knowing it's going to increase in value. That currency that I'm holding that you gave me is increasing in value. So I may not, and then I do that for maybe 5-10 years in a high quality way. And then I can stop making refrigerators and go do something else that's even, maybe is a even better value, right? It just completely changes the incentives as to, and controls the way that there's no more cutting corners. There's no more let's use shitty ingredients. There's no more chemical based stuff out of because we got a grant from the United States government to take corn and turn it into motor oil, right? It's like none of that crap is out there anymore because you don't need it. You actually legitimately don't need it. That's the part that sounds so utopian that people have a hard time wrapping their heads around. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but I know it's like I'm already there with most of it. Someone's like, well, hey, what do you think about this business idea? Nope. Well, why not? Well, because you're lying to people to get more dollars, right? I don't want more dollars, right? It's like, well, what do you think of this? Nope. Well, why not? Well, you have to provide, and what's great about it is it doesn't necessarily have to be provide me more dollars than what I think Bitcoin will go up in. It just has to be a good product that I would feel good getting behind that's actually going to help someone.
Yep.
On the other side of that incentive, when you're using fiat, I'm just encouraged to get as much fiat as possible. So I will cut corners. I will do shit. I will market. I will lie. I will do whatever I have to do because that's where the incentive lies. That's the only way I can survive is by playing those games. And over time, it just happens. I start to, shrinkflation happens. My 4-ounce product becomes 3.5 ounces, then 3 for the same dollar price because that's the only way I can compete. It's like all of that goes away. And it's like, and it's fun too when you find someone who will take Bitcoin in exchange for it, because not only am I like, oh yeah, I like using Bitcoin. I'd much rather use it anyway than dollars. It's much more convenient and easier. But you also know that if you're buying that from someone who's willing to take sats for it, you're going to get a quality product. Like you're going to get good stuff, and they're going to be honest with you about what's in it and how they made it and who they are, Yep. So all of that, and that's why, you shake a rancher's hand with the the beef initiative. That's why I like, I really only buy and drink wine from Ben Justman at Peony Lane Vineyards, because Ben literally just uses wild grapes and wild yeast and no additives, nothing extra. That's all you need to make wine. That's all you need. So he's like, well, why would I put more in? He's not playing the fiat games. And he's also like, well, it's expensive for me to do this. I need a little bit more in Bitcoin. I'm like, that's fine, Ben, because if I bought Bitcoin 2 years ago in 2022 at $20,000, and now it's worth $120,000. Your bottle of wine is not $30; it's $5, or it's not $60; it's $10, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, that's why, that's how those incentives line up and start to work, and you'll see it. It'll happen. It'll happen slowly, little bits and pieces, with little outliers and things. But then you'll wake up one morning. I hope that I've got a 19-year-old and a 15-year-old. I hope that when my 15-year-old is 25, he's using Bitcoin for everything every day.
Oh, I think he will be.
Yeah. So I would prefer it. Right. It just makes sense. So
yeah, it amazes me how humans look at nature and go, we can do better. It's like, really?
Yeah, I'm working on. Yeah, I would love to. I'd love to be a bit of a writer someday. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do it, right? But I've started jotting down, kind of journaling these ideas, the things I've been talking about with people. And I was kind of, I was on a podcast with somebody and we're chatting, and he said, what does Bitcoin mean to you? And I've slowly worked my way from, this cool technology. I got lucky. I never really did any of the shit coins, really. And so it was like, kind of went from this, hard money, but slowly started to move up from the money to the mining side of production to the energy and energy production, energy consumption. And talking through it, I kind of realized like Bitcoin is physics and math, and that's really pretty much all it is, right? And it utilizes energy through physics and mathematics, right, to create this store of value, medium of exchange, and eventually unit of account, also divisible unit of account. So if you think about it, if you're a Christian, you believe that God created the universe. He did that. He created the universe with physics and mathematics, right? Those are like, math is like the language of the universe, and physics is the currency of the universe, right? You have energy that has to be moved from one place or another. It's either always stored somewhere. It doesn't just get destroyed. It just changes hands, right? Mm-hmm. Like Bitcoin. So you're thinking, you're like, okay, well, if you believe in that and you believe that Bitcoin operates on the same rules, then, having Bitcoin is kind of like having your own little piece of the universe. You know what I mean? So having it and using it, and because it works the way it does, because it follows those rules, it feels a little divine. It feels like, it's just going to work. And when you look in nature, you're like, yeah, nature's violent, and no, it's really not. Nature just balances itself out, yep. Right? It balances itself out. And if there's something that's bad for nature or for the universe, it figures out a way to get rid of it, right? Yeah. Sometimes it can look violent, right? But it's just its way of taking care of things and keeping the balance and keeping everybody in check, right?
Absolutely.
So that's what Bitcoin does.
Yep, I've explained it as actually nature is just a ledger of exchange of energy that we can see.
Yeah.
And because when the wind blows, that's just energy you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
The wind is literally
energy.
The wind is literally the air that is moving because the planet is spinning.
Yep.
Because of gravity, because of the magnetic pole, north and south poles, because of the gravitational pull of the moon. It's like all of that affects us, right? And it's really funny when we think we can fix that or can do it better, because you see the cloud seeding that happened in Dubai, and they flood that entire place, right? Like destroy it, right? That's the kind of shit that happens when you fuck around. It's just no. So it's interesting for sure. But I think having Bitcoin is like saying, I'm going to play by those rules of the universe, and you can't hold the universe, but you can have a little piece of it, your address and your private key together, and the mathematics of the universe work out for that, right? So the odds of you guessing my address that I don't share with you, my private address, is like you going into the universe and picking one atom in the universe and guessing the right one. And then if you want the key to it, you have to go pick another atom, and it has to be the perfect atom. Because if you pick two different atoms, those work together, but you have a different address, you have a different wallet, right? So it's like the mathematics in the infinity, and the infinity works that way. It's hard for us to comprehend that, but you're like, oh, well, if it's just math, then eventually they'll use all the numbers. No, there's no end to numbers. No, there's no end to numbers. And the combinations, because we use multiple numbers as combinations, then the amount of combinations just continue to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. It's so, and if you think about that, you're like, well, that's what the universe does. The universe just continues to expand and grow and grow and grow, and matter changes form and moves and this, and energy changes hands from one form to the other. That's all Bitcoin is doing, right? It's changing hands from my energy to your energy, right? My time to your time, and you get to hold it, and you're like, this is the amount of time that I built and spent to get that Bitcoin, right? When I buy something from you. So it's time, it's energy, it's math, and all of that, all those three things work together. It's putting the universe in harmony.
Amen, brother. All right. It is Friday evening, so I don't want to keep you long. One more quick little question. For those who are watching this who are new, what would your advice actually be on someone who has heard of Bitcoin but doesn't know a lot about it? What would be your advice for them?
You just gotta get in it. Like, I don't care how it is. There's some interesting things I've read online about, people starting companies and different ideas and things like that. And they talk about how you have these old rules and these old systems, and we're comfortable with them. So we tend to want to stay in them because change is kind of difficult. In fact, change is physically painful to us in our brain because, our brain is having to shift and connect neurons in a way that have never happened before. It's like physically difficult for people to change, which is interesting. So they talk about when you start a company, it's like people are like, okay, well, I've got to do things this way and this way and this way, and I need to do this, and I gotta go start. I got to go register for as a business. I got to make sure if I need a license, I can get a license. I'm going to do this, whatever. Well, you do all that, and then they go out and try to find customers, right? And then they realize, oh, nobody actually wants this business or needs it, so I have no customers. Screwed, right? They spend all that time and money, and they wait too long, and then there's a guy down the road who's been like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go buy the crap I need, and I'm gonna start knocking on doors, and I'm gonna see if anybody needs this, and when they do, I'm gonna do it part-time until it turns into a real business. I'm gonna do it, right? Everything is the same way, right? Bitcoin is the same way. Anything in your life, any change you're gonna make in your life, you just have to make it. It doesn't. So I would say, don't be scared of it. There's plenty of easy ways to set up and get into Bitcoin. You could go Bitcoin only and do, just start kind of doing a dollar cost average on River. You could call Unchained Capital if you want to kind of buy a bigger chunk. You can do Strike is a really good one to kind of also use as like checking and debit and things like that. Pay your bills. I got started on Cash App because I didn't know anything else, right? And so I just started dollar cost averaging on Cash App. And then as I learned about it, I realized it's like, oh man, I need to, sorry, hold on. On Cash App, I just started dollar cost averaging. And as that money grew, I realized it's like, I need to get more comfortable with this. I need to understand more about it. And so I started learning about it, right? I was even working in the industry. and I was still slow to adopt it. Right. I just thought I was getting another fiat job. I was going to work with traditional data centers and stuff like that. And I ended up working with Bitcoin miners in Texas. And I was like, these cowboys are fun. They're putting millions of dollars, out in West Texas. What do they know that I don't? And so I started really kind of digging into it and things like that. Just get into it. And as you start to discover these cool little things and start to follow people online that, know a little bit more about it and talk about it, and you watch podcasts. About that time, I knew a few people, but it didn't feel like there was a ton online, maybe just because I hadn't found them yet. But I listened to the Breedlove What Is Money podcast with Michael Saylor, the first,
awesome. Legendary
12 episodes, or whatever that was. And I listened to that, and I was so addicted to it. I listened to it in like a week. I listened to like 50 hours of podcasts, just his podcast in like a week, because Saylor would talk about he would go back to, hey, we're using spears and we're defending ourselves against, talking about energy in that way. I was like, this is blowing my mind. But you get into it and you start to look, and then I realized he wasn't even teaching me about Bitcoin. He was teaching me about money. And then I read The Creature from Jekyll Island. And once you realize how broken the money system, the dollar system is, everything else comes easy, right?
Yeah.
So you've ever sat down at the end of a month or at the end of a year to do your taxes, and you look and you're like, how did we spend this much money? We didn't go on a vacation. I didn't buy anything new. I didn't do anything here. How are we spending this much money? Why am I living 90% less every year than I did the year before? Now, it's regardless of what, that's regardless of where you are in life and how successful you are. It's like, you're like, well, I could buy, I was able to buy 5 cows this year to feed my big family or last year. And this year I can only buy 4, right? It's like that stuff it doesn't matter what your dollar amount is. You start to realize it, right? You start to get it, and you start to play, you understand the debt game. Even if you're rich and you understand the debt game, eventually the dollar's going to inflate so bad that even that debt game is not going to work anymore, right? You start to put these two together. So my aha moment was when I had finished the book, what is it, Creature from Jekyll Island, and I had already DCA'd into Bitcoin from like 45, 48, that second little high top in 21, all the way down to 20K. And I thought to myself, listen, if I know 100%, if I hold my money in cash for a year, it's going to buy me 90% less stuff, at least 90, probably more, but at least, but there's 100% chance that I will have less buying power. If there's even a 1% chance that Bitcoin hedges against inflation and even just doesn't even increase my fiat purchasing power, but just guards my time and energy over time. So that way, when I do have a good month and I get ahead, or I do some extra work on the side and it comes in, that's not stolen from me, then I'd be stupid to not go all in. And so I went all in at 20K. It dropped to 16K. And I thought, oh shit, I've lost it again, right? I lost at the fiat game. I've lost at Bitcoin. I'm done. And I'd like to say I was strong and I was just like, I'm a hodler. I'm just going to hodl through it, right? No, I pretty much gave up. I just didn't touch it. I didn't sell it. I didn't, I couldn't even look at it. It was like, this is retarded. It's like, what did I do? I have destroyed my family, right? But then, the holidays was a good time. It kind of distracted me a little bit. I did crawl in a bottle a little bit. I'm not an alcoholic or a big drinker or anything, but it's like I did disappear for a while. And then January, it started to kind of creep back out, and I was kind of back to even. I was like, oh, okay, I'm even. Great. Maybe I should get out. I was like, no, maybe, I'm feeling good about it. If it really is what I think it is. And then it just got better and better through 23 and through 24. And it's like, and I had a good job in a few good jobs in 24, and it's like I couldn't get my money in there fast enough. I could not buy Bitcoin fast enough. I was like, if I had money in my bank account, I was laying up and I was laying awake at night staring at, like, I'm losing value right now. I'm losing money. I'm losing value and time and energy right now. And so I'd take, 5-10 grand, move it into Bitcoin, move it over to cold storage, and just be like, and I could sleep like a baby. Yeah. It's like it's the weirdest feeling ever. You'd think that having that responsibility and having, your bank in a cold storage, would be stressful, but it's not. Responsibility is freedom. And so I had the freedom to say, and I was like, the bank accounts and things, it's like you make a purchase or you transfer money somewhere and the bank puts a hold on it and they call you and they're like, hey, why? I would take checks in. I'd run businesses in the past and I would take checks in, and I'd been doing hundreds of thousands of dollars of business with them over the last year. And I have one check that's bigger than the rest that have ever come in. And so they put it on a hold for 2 weeks. And I'm like, I have payroll. I have people I got to pay. I'm like, what the hell? And they're like, well, it's just bigger. I was like, it's the same check, same customer, same account. It's like, fuck you. It's like, it's those gates. So that responsibility actually ended up turning into freedom. And that freedom gives you that kind of peace of mind and peace that just doesn't come, when you're on the hamster wheel. So,
yeah, I wish every club lease I had, I could actually pay in actual Bitcoin, because probably every month with payroll and obligations, I probably put out about $500,000 every month.
Yeah.
And just wiring 100, I don't like anything over $100,000.
Yeah,
they are reaching up your ass. They want to know who your mom's second cousin was.
Yep.
It's ridiculous, and unfortunately, you're talking with someone who works at the bank.
Yeah.
So they don't live in a world where you deal with a lot of money.
Yeah.
So they look at you like, oh, he's moving $100,000, and which it is. They look at it and go, wow, $100,000 is a lot of money. When really, if you've ever run your own business, $100,000 is like a week and a half of payroll.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like,
like, I mean, it's like I had a company, and we were doing like 180, 250K a month in services. And so across like maybe a dozen different clients, so usually $20,000 checks were kind of standard, right? But then this one time they're like, hey, we want you to double your efforts. Can you do this? Can you help us out a little more? And I said, sure. And I did it. And it was like 125K, right? And that, and I was like, and we just destroyed, the goals that they set for us. And my team did great. I did great. Everybody felt awesome. It's like, hey, it's going to be a good Christmas. We're going to get you guys, bonuses. I'm giving you an extra 10% because you guys just killed it. And then like the check comes in, and it's supposed to be a transfer, and they put a hold on it. And I was like, what? Okay. It's like, so I call in, and they're like, oh yeah, we're not even sure. You have to come in. And I was like, I have to go into a bank? Why do I have to go into a bank? Like, what is this, 1987? I was like, okay. So I go into the bank, and they're like, well, yeah. And it was literally just because of the amount, and they put a hold on it. And I'm like, I was like, this is my money, and I need it like right now.
Yeah. Oh, that looked good. God, show me.
It's actually a little.
Oh, what do you got there?
Just steak fajita.
Oh, nice.
Well,
I'm jealous. I had a hot dog about an hour and a half ago.
Oh man, you need some real food. Hot dogs are not bad. You just need some real food. But
All right, brother.
hey,
I am going to let you go so you and your wife and kids or whatever can eat.
Yep.
And I appreciate your time, and I definitely want you back on, brother.
Yeah, man. Anytime.
Absolutely. Have a great day and enjoy your evening.
You too, Ben. Good to see you, man.
All right, bye-bye, buddy.
What if I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire? Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine, Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire